Hi, and thank you for choosing to listen as we reveal some of what we think and share how we feel about mental health. Someone once said that the youth are our future, so here's your chance to see what the future has in store. So buckle down and let's listen. My name's Noah, and this is my guest.
Jinx, hello there.
What are your pronouns?
He, him, his.
Okay, mine are they, them. Okay, so the topic of this episode is navigating relationships while struggling mentally. So, okay, how are you doing today?
Other than tired, a bit cold. It was a bit cold out today.
Yeah. It's a little chilly outside today.
Yeah, especially if you walk.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you take the bus?
No.
Oh.
Like, I rarely do.
Okay.
Because people.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna ask you a few questions. So feel free to answer them all, and if you don't feel comfortable answering a question, we can skip through some of them.
Alright.
Okay. So, what's something that you wish people understood about maintaining relationships while struggling mentally?
Ooh. I would say that things take time, really. Because when you are struggling mentally, like, just on your own in general, it's a lot to process and
Yeah.
handle, and that can go on for pretty much your whole life. Have its in and outs, ups and downs. And when you bring another person into the mix, you not only have to focus on yourself, but also, them as well.
Yeah.
And it's hard to open up personally to another because, fear of judgment.
Yeah.
And that's, I would say that's like the main thing that you would have to worry about. But once you get to know each other more personally, get more intimate with each other in any way, I guess.
Yeah.
I think they would have a more understanding of you, how you are as a person and how you function, especially if you tell them about your history and past traumas and whatnot. So yeah, I'd say that.
Okay.
Just things take time.
What would you say, if someone didn't understand, what dealing with mental health is or what mental illness is, what would you say, how would you deal with something like that?
I would maybe help them learn about it because with mental health as a whole, it is a part of our lives
Yeah.
and we process it in many different ways. Again, comes in and out of our lives and it has an ups and downs, positives and negatives. And if for someone who doesn't really understand that feeling in general, I have a feeling they don't really understand their mental health in general, and they don't understand themselves as a person. So they don't really know how to handle serious situations, how to grow as a person,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I would just probably pull them aside, sit them down, have a nice little chat about this,
Yeah.
both serious and in a way that they understand. Since people process serious topics like this in many different ways, they can either take it all in. Some people have they slip in some positivity in there with comedy in it, just to balance things
Yeah.
out, make them more comfortable. So yeah, something like that.
Okay. To jump into kind of flow into another question, what would you say if someone couldn't understand, no matter how much you talk to them or try to make them understand, would you set boundaries with them, or would you how would you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, boundaries for someone who can't understand that. I think my only, or boundaries, I guess, would be really just take a break from them. And I would ask them to really look at themselves as a person, because even if they say oh, I can't understand this is hard for me to process, I don't get at all. Again, I just feel like it's more of them not knowing who they are and
Yeah.
how to grow and how to learn new things and stuff like that. And it's hard for
Yeah.
someone to do that on their own. And then once again, when you have another person to focus on, you got to balance those two and
Yeah.
then focus on each other's needs, vice versa.
Yeah.
Since partnership is a 50-50 split.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because recently I had to cut off one of my best friends because it wasn't that she didn't understand what having mental health is, because I definitely do think that maybe they're she also suffers with like some mental health stuff, and like so that's like one of the things that we kind of had in common. But like I think it was more so of like a she didn't really understood what I needed, and I guess I was spending more time trying to help her rather than her helping me. And like I'm also not really a person where like I'll like if someone wants to help me, that's okay. But if not, that I don't think that's like their problem that they have to deal with.
Hmm.
Like it also is my mental health, so like I don't feel like people have to deal with like I don't I don't have to make it their responsibility to have to deal with me, you know?
Yeah.
Cuz like I'm also my own person. So, but yeah, I just wanted to relate cuz like what you were saying kind of made me think back to one of my close friends that I recently had to kind of take a break from.
Yeah, I do understand that as well. More so like, I guess like the people pleasing aspect
Yeah.
of what so, because I'm very much like that.
Mhm.
I tend to focus on like taking care of others and helping them because it makes me feel better about
Yeah.
myself. And myself as a person, I'm feeling that a lot of people struggle with this as well. We're not really interesting, I guess the word is,
Yeah.
because we know ourselves, like how we grew up, what we processed from our parents and whatnot, and we
Mhm.
had like our past traumas and we had our negatives and all that, and just trying to work on that by yourself and all alone is not really fun. So like
Yeah.
when you meet someone, whether it's a friend, partner, or just I don't know, someone at work, acquaintance, so like that, I feel like learning about another person is more interesting because
Yeah.
you learn new things rather than what you already know.
Yeah.
And you want to further those, like the need for learning new things as well.
Mhm. Would you say it's like harder to get into like a friendship relationship or whatever the relationship may be just because like you suffer with mental health?
It depends on the situation.
Mhm.
How I do friendships and relationships really is for, well, okay, let me start that over. So how I would do relationships
Mhm.
is I would become more like their friend first, just
Yeah.
because to know more about them, and then I can get a more general opinion on them to see if these feelings grow or not.
Mhm.
And that way, when we do eventually become a relationship, we already know each other well enough, so
Yeah.
we understand each other's struggles, ups and downs, positives and negatives.
Mhm.
And whenever we do go through something, struggling, negatives, dealing with our own mental health and past traumas, I feel like the partner would understand that just because we've, previously known each other for so and so,
Yeah.
like so and so amount of time.
Mhm.
So yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Are you like the type, well, because I would say this because I'm the type of person where like if I were to get into a relationship or like even just like a friendship, I feel like I have to let them know first like what kind of what I deal with. Because like for me, I guess I would say like if I don't let them know and all of a sudden like I go through like a depressive episode or something, I don't feel like it's fair to them to have to like go through that first hand like without knowing. So like are you the type of person to like let them know first? Or
I'm more so I keep it to myself,
yeah.
just because I don't really want to put my feelings and all that onto another person,
Mhm.
just because the fear of like them feeling like I guess they are a burden and they might have to do something, like it's like their duty or something to do
Yeah.
that, which I don't really want. If I'm going through something alone, then I'd rather go through it alone and not
Yeah.
have others like interfere in any way, just
Mhm.
because I feel like when you go through something by yourself, the only way to get through it is by yourself.
Yeah.
Having others, like taking in certain advice and information from others, that can help you along your journey. But the main core is that focusing on yourself and how you grow as a person is like one of the key, if not the key thing to life, is just figuring yourself out and what you want to do in your own life.
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting because I feel like I'm the same way too. Like obviously like if I'm warning somebody, but then it actually happens, I feel like I'm more of like a to myself kind of person. But like it's also like I'm not trying to push them away.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm trying to like take time for myself so I don't like put anything on to the other person.
Yeah.
So, but with the whole burden thing, have you ever felt like a burden in a relationship?
Oh yeah, many
How,
times.
yeah. How would you say that you dealt with that?
Uh, yeah, going back to what I said, it's just a matter of like working on myself,
Yeah.
working on yourself as a person, because with the whole burden thing, feeling like you are a drag on their life,
Mhm.
which can be interpreted in many different ways by people. But how I see it is that I mostly see it as like me being too much for them to handle.
Yeah.
Like, since they know so much information about me
Mhm.
and going into a friendship, relationship, something like that, I do have a tendency of oversharing sometimes, which I can be a lot to take in and process for
Yeah.
someone in general. So, yeah, and whenever I do feel like that, yeah, it is quite the like the the stone on your back or whatever it is, like
Yeah.
a weight on your shoulders. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Basically, I would just work on myself as a person and just figure myself out, and then whenever I feel comfortable enough to know like my values and have a basic understanding of what I want and when it comes to like friendships, relationships, and all that, then I would like be ready to come out, talk about them, about this, how I feel,
Mhm.
and then just hear their opinion and what they think about me.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think that's like a really healthy way of putting it. Cause like I'm also like an oversharer, and like I don't really know when it's time to like not
Yeah,
overshare
yeah,
or if I'm sharing too much. So I definitely think like putting those like boundaries up or like even just like taking a step back and focusing on yourself is a bit easier.
mm.
So, um, how do you personally balance taking care of yourself while also showing up for people in your life?
Oof. Wow. I guess it's something I'm still working on in my life, but I would say main thing is, I guess, like my basic day-to-day schedule right now with school
Mhm.
is just going to school, and then I usually see my friends first. So whenever I see my friends, I have a conversation with them, and I usually more so listen rather than
Yeah.
interfere with that.
Mhm.
And if there's ever any like something like, oh, like they want my opinion on something, then I would personally give my opinion with mixing what I've heard from that situation and blending the two together and incorporating it in a way that they can understand.
Mhm.
And then focusing on myself afterwards. Not really, I guess, focusing on myself, but I guess like a way to, for myself to like calm down and ease down over the days. Just, I do normal stuff. Like, I just like sit down, listen to a podcast or some music, and then I just game out. It usually helps me.
Yeah.
I don't know about focusing on myself per se, but yeah.
Well, I mean, you're still doing things to like help yourself, like, and
Yeah.
you're also like easing your mind at the same time.
Yeah, very much so.
So, yeah.
Focusing on myself, really. I'm the type of person who's very influenced by like music and television,
Mhm.
because learning certain things from people, while it can be helpful, everyone tells everything in many different ways.
Mhm.
Where I feel like when it comes to music and television, something is, it's almost like a consistent formula.
Yeah.
And having that told to you more than once in slight different ways, I feel like is more easy to process in, rather than just hearing many different things all at once and then almost like struggling in your brain like which one to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, for, I guess, for like an example would be like animation, for example. Animation is very, you know, the stereotypical criticism like, oh, it's for kids and stuff like that. It's meant to
Yeah.
look kidsy and but since animation is in general is made by grown-ups, they usually sneak in like their own adult like
Yeah.
personal life in there as well, and uh, to tell and prepare kids for their upcoming grown-up future.
Mhm.
Like, like troubles with love and stuff, they format it in a way where it's very simple and understanding, not only for kids but also for adults,
Yeah.
since they're the ones who are making it, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Like, I think TV and music has like a very, very beneficial way of helping people deal with like their mental health. Like, I also feel like music, for me at least, has a big impact on like my day-to-day life. I think like if music wasn't available, I don't think I would be the type of person I am today. Like I definitely feel like music has had a big impact on my life. Would you feel the same?
Yeah, I guess one of the big music influences is actually Slipknot.
Hmm.
Because yes, the screaming band, I know the devil wearing mask people, but yeah,
Yeah.
but listening to their music lyric wise, because other than just focusing on the screaming aspect and everything, their lyrics are actually very personal and very deep and heavy. Like a song, for example, like Nero Forte in the We Are Not Your Kind album, hearing that, listening to the lyrics, I take it as a sign of like someone who got cheated on in a relationship and
Yeah.
is working through like themselves, both positives and negatives, just struggling to find themselves and comprehend these emotions and figuring out how to move on from that.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
something like that. Something like that.
Okay. Well, even though like the people that you listen to, you feel like other people might not like relate or understand. It's something that like you like listening to.
Yeah.
So like if people don't like it, it's whatever. It's like something that makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, and if they don't like it, well, they don't like it.
Yeah.
Because in life, we are our own people, and we are all allowed to have our own individual opinions. It's just when it comes to sharing those certain opinions, it can go either way with people. Since
Mhm.
everyone was raised differently, taught different things, they learn different things. So colliding two new things together, trying to find a common ground, can go either way.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, we're gonna take a small break. But thank you so much for talking to me so far.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello and welcome back. I am joined by
My name's Emily.
yes, and Emily is a peer leader at Huddle South Central. She has been with Huddle for about 2 years now. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology and is currently working in school, working on a master's degree in counseling psychology. She will be starting a new role with Huddle South Central as a mental health counselor in May. Emily is passionate about working with youth and young adults and supporting them through their mental health journeys. She has specific interests in anxiety, depression, burnout, and perfectionism, and enjoys working from a person-centered, strength-based approach.
Yeah.
Hello, Emily.
Hi.
How
Thank
are you
you.
today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. Thank you for the introduction. That's good.
Okay, so I'm just going to be asking you a couple of questions. If you don't feel comfortable asking a question, we can skip through another question or we can cut it out.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, the first question is, how would you handle a relationship with people who may not understand or believe in mental health struggles?
Okay. I would say it's tough, but I feel like clear communication has really been important for me in like navigating those kind of things. If someone like really doesn't understand mental health, I feel like sharing some resources and kind of trying to have those conversations is good. But I know with like parents and things, like some people are really reluctant or kind of like set in their ways on like their views of those kind of things.
Yeah.
So it can be really difficult. So like if those conversations don't go well or like those kind of things aren't well received, like I might kind of reconsider like how I engage with them
Yeah.
or like, you know, like if I'm not in a good spot, I might like, yeah, I don't know, just put like some boundaries in place in that relationship if like I feel like they're really not understanding or like they aren't open to learning, I guess.
So
Yeah.
if it's like really not beneficial for you or your mental health, would you like kind of like lean towards like letting them go, kind of?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the relationship
Yeah.
too, right? Like I think with like friendships and things, it might be a bit easier. Like it's not easy, but like easier to like let somebody go out of your life. But like definitely depends. I know with like a lot of young people who live with their parents, it's not something you can just like cut off,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, definitely. I would consider like reevaluating the relationship with like friendships and things that like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because there is a lot of parents I know, like even like in like kids my age, where like their parents are very set on like when they were kids and how like they didn't have like mental health resources.
Yeah.
So like they kind of weren't grown up with knowing what mental health was or even knowing how to deal with their own mental health.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like kids and even like young adults are struggling to make their parents or like their relatives who are a bit older than them understand.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So if they have like that openness to learn, then
Yeah.
that's a big difference. But if they're not, then I guess, yeah, like just maybe getting connected with like other friends or like other trusted adults instead. Like if you feel like your parents really aren't receptive of that kind of stuff, I think
Yeah.
that'd be good.
This might be a little, what should I say? Bold question.
Mm-hmm.
But have you like dealt with anything like that before?
Yeah, like growing up, I guess I grew up with parents probably like similar to like the older generation, right? It's like those conversations were like not had with my family really. I feel like during my teenage years, like, I mean, I didn't have that big of understanding of mental health either at that time. I was like, I didn't really know what I was going through. So I would have a lot of times where I was like lashing out or like isolating. And like my parents didn't understand. I didn't understand. So like
Yeah.
we couldn't even have the conversation. So that was really difficult. But I think now, like, I've kind of studied it. I've gone through it. Now I'm like in my early 20s. It's a bit different. I can kind of have those conversations about the past with them. But definitely, like, when I was in it, that was really difficult. And I wouldn't have had the conversations because I didn't even know, like, what I was going through. So, like, to explain it to them would have been, like, I couldn't have done it at that time.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
definitely relate to that. Like, even with me, like, my parents, like, luckily now, my parents are more, like, understanding. But, like, even, like, a couple years ago, like, my dad, I don't know, he always uses an excuse where, like, since he was born in, like, a foreign country, they didn't have, like, any really knowledge of that. And so, like, they didn't really know how to deal with, like, mental health. And I don't even know if they knew what that kind of was.
Right.
And so with me growing up with having like dealing with mental health struggles and stuff, like it was definitely a lot more difficult for my parents to understand.
Yeah.
But I think now like coming to Huddle, like getting them to understand kind of what I go through and like how I deal with it, I feel like they're a lot more like understanding. Whereas before like they kind of weren't. But it's also like the same thing as you said, like even when I was growing up I didn't really know what mental health was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, since my parents also didn't really know what it was, too, like, I kind of had to, like, find it through, like, schools and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, my high school was, like, a very big, like, I guess, like, guidance for me. Because, like, I guess, like, talking to, like, my guidance counselors and, like, them, like, not, like, letting me know, but them also saying, like, oh, like, if you're dealing with, like, a certain situation, like, we can talk to different people. And, like, there's just different outlets and stuff to go through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't have anything like Huddle when I was younger. I like grew up in the like south of Winnipeg and I went to like a super small school. So we had like one guidance counselor for the whole entire school. She was always super busy. I was like, no, I don't need to go. Like it's fine. Somebody else probably needs it more. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like things like Huddle, I feel like make such a big difference, like just in the educating part too. Like if you don't know something, how can you talk about it? How can you name it? Like how can you talk
Yeah.
about how you're feeling, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
But going with the communicating thing, how would you communicate your needs when you're not in the best headspace?
I think I found that like really being honest, it's hard and like that vulnerability piece is really hard, but I think like as I've like gone through different things and different like stages of life, I've just found like just being honest with people, like I'm not in a good headspace, like I can't come to these plans, like I'm really sorry and like you know, I don't feel good like canceling plans and stuff either. So I don't know, I think just like being honest about where you're at.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, that vulnerability is really hard. But I feel like in order for people to support you, like they kind of need to know,
Yeah.
like what's going on for you. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
helped
honestly what
me.
I'm like slowly starting to learn is just being honest.
Yeah.
Because even still now, like I still have a hard time letting people know that I am having like hard days. And so like sometimes like I won't even text them. I'll just like kind of ignore them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I feel bad because they're like struggling to try and understand what I'm doing. So, I don't know. But recently I've been kind of like more, how should I say it? Like more communicative, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of been able to communicate more about like what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And like I would say it is a lot easier knowing that people are actually like so understanding. Whereas like before I would be in my head all the time, thinking that like, oh, they're like gonna get mad at me. But like now
Yeah.
they're like, oh, it's okay, take your time, like I'm here whenever.
Right. Yeah.
So
You kind of like build it up inside and
yeah.
you're like, oh my gosh, like how are they going to react? And then when you actually tell them like, hey, like I'm not doing so good, like I need to stay home. They're like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely found that too.
Yeah. So what would your advice for be setting boundaries without feeling guilty about it?
Um, it's hard. It's hard to work on that guilt. But I think just like building that compassion for yourself and like knowing that you deserve the rest and like deserve to take the time that you need. And just like, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to shift that mindset of like self care or like boundaries as like not selfish. But I feel like when you're not doing those kind of things, I feel like it can really affect your relationships and like how you show up in different areas of your life. So I think it's just like shifting that mindset, I guess. Like I need to take care of myself so that I can show up better for other people in my life and like be more engaged in like the things I'm going to do. I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely do think setting boundaries like without feeling guilty is like it's like hard.
Yeah.
Especially like for me, like I'm a very big people pleaser. And so I
Yeah.
feel like
Me
really
too.
guilty if I don't do something for someone else.
Yeah.
Because like I know like even if they don't do something back for me, like it's fine, like honestly like I don't care about it. But like if I don't do something for someone else, it's just in my head all the time.
Yeah. That
So
makes sense. I feel that too. It's really hard to say no to things sometimes. I want to say yes to everything, but
yeah.
I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice, I guess, when I do that too. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
change that mindset, but I guess just practicing it, even in like small ways, maybe.
Yeah. So even with people, how would like what are some signs that like a relationship, whether a friendship, family communication, or anything that may be like that, is helping or versus harming your mental health?
I think with that, I always try to like lead with like how I feel after I've like hung out with someone or like done something with them. Like, how does that relationship make me feel? And like, if I'm feeling really drained or like
Yeah.
not good after I've hung out with them, I'm like, okay, like why? And I'm kind of like approach that with like curiosity. Like, why am I feeling super drained after this? Like, maybe the relationship isn't like what I need or like I'm not getting what I need out of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I focus a lot on, yeah, like how I
The
feel.
question of like why is this happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just taking like a closer look at that like relationship and those interactions, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of a red flag if you're feeling really drained or like not good after you hang out with someone or like
Yeah.
interact with them.
Yeah, I recently had to cut off like one of my like longtime best friends because like I realized that lately like our friendship wasn't beneficial to my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's hard like even if like it is like harming your mental health, like having someone that's been in your life for so long, it's like really hard to like, well, I really want to be friends with her, but it's also like this is draining me. So like it's kind of hard to like choose like which one or like even like choosing like a balance, I guess.
Yeah, that makes
So,
sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're like a really understanding person, you always want to be like, well, like what are they going through? Like
Yeah.
what's their side of things too? I saw like a really cool thing on TikTok this morning and it was like talking about like it was like people who like don't know how to communicate will like see everything as an argument and like they want to win.
Yeah.
And then like people who like can't take accountability will see everything as like an attack. And I feel like that in relationships too is important. Like if the communication isn't there, even if you are like maybe you're feeling drained, like sometimes you can communicate through that.
Yeah.
But I guess it depends on it's like a two-way street, I guess. If the other person like doesn't know how to communicate and they're like trying to argue with you or like they see every like your feelings as like a kind of attack when you bring them up, I feel like that too is something to consider in relationships.
Yeah, that was something that I actually like I had to consider because like whenever I would communicate like how she was making me feel, like she kind of came at me whereas like oh like you can make like she would just make excuses for it,
Yeah.
and she would kind of like blame me for feeling that way, And so, like, at that point, that's when I realized that, like, maybe, like, having her in my life is harder than not having her in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that
So.
makes sense. I feel like that, like, as you're, like, growing as a person, too, like, sometimes you'll outgrow relationships and, like, it can be painful, but it's, like,
Yeah.
also okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's, like, even, like, well, for me, I've outgrown, like, a lot of relationships or even, like, friendships.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it doesn't mean that, like, it ended in a bad way. It just can mean, like, we just outgrew each other, kind of.
Right.
So, it doesn't mean, like, it has to end in, like, drama or anything.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes people just go their separate ways.
Yeah. I feel like that happens a lot, like, in the transition out of, like, high school to,
Yeah.
like, adulthood, too, because everyone's on their own paths and things like that. It doesn't always have to be, like, super destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you outgrown, like, a lot of relationships or friendships or?
I think so. Like, especially during that transition for me, too. I
Yeah.
think, like, I followed that kind of trend a little bit. Like, I went separate ways from a lot of people. And also, like, I went right into university. So that kind of changed things for me. It was just, like, a different group. And, like, I couldn't necessarily hang out with, like, all my friends who were, like, partying or, like, doing whatever else they were doing. Like, I needed to focus on school. And I just had, like, different priorities. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that definitely happened for me. And I've had, like, the ones that are a little bit more, like, destructive, like we couldn't communicate and get on the same page, so we couldn't be, like, couldn't have a good relationship anymore, couldn't be friends.
Yeah.
And then I've had the ones that, like, you just go on a different path, wish them
Mm-hmm.
the best kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I think definitely, like, high school friends and, like, after high school friends, it kind of depends on, like, their goals or priorities in life.
yeah.
Like, I've had a lot of friends, like, I just graduated high school, but, like, I've had a lot of friends that, like, I've outgrown just because, like, they're still set in that, like, party mindset, like, that they had in high school.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I'm not really that type of person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I guess, like, kind of having those friendships kind of wasn't really, like, beneficial to what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but, yeah.
That makes sense. I feel like we've had similar, like, experiences in those ways.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
given with that, thank you for talking to me today.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. But
Thanks for having me.
yes, we're going to take a short break and then we'll be back with Jinx. Welcome back. We have Jinx again. This is our Q&A section. So if you have any questions, you can send them to the link on the screen. But for right now, we have some questions from our audience.
Okay. Can I go first? I don't know if this has already been answered, but I'm interested. So, what's a lesson you've learned about relationships through your mental health journey?
Ooh. What's a lesson I learned? I would say, for one thing, never be afraid to show your true colors and embrace who you truly are inside. Because before relationships in general, I was very closed off from people and very anxious and like opening up to others and about how I truly felt about certain topics and whatnot. But while in a relationship, you learn pretty much right off the bat that being closed off doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
Opening up is the best option because you get to know each other more, get more connected, intimate with each other. And that really helped me grow and shape who I am today, which I still am learning to this day. So yeah, never be never be afraid to be yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think for me, for like the one lesson that I've learned is I kind of realized who people are as they are. Like I kind of realized who was there for me and who was just there because they like needed someone or like I don't really know how to put it. Like I've lost a lot of friends because I've realized that they weren't necessarily there for me, but more for just what I brought to the table, I guess.
Yeah, I guess like they were only there maybe to like have some sort of gain for themselves to get something out of it.
Yeah. So that's like I think one of the biggest things I've learned about struggling mentally is I realized like who is actually there to help me and like to actually care for me rather than like just being there for themselves, I guess.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Okay. Does
I
anyone
got a
else?
question.
All right.
All right, here
If
we
you
go.
could give one piece of advice to someone who feels like their mental health is pushing people away, what would it be?
Oh, I have to think about that. Do you have one, Jinx?
Piece of advice. So, if you feel like your mental health is pushing people away, like that's the advice you would give.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who feels like because their mental health are pushing people away?
Um, I would just ask the person in general, like just straight up, like, oh, do you feel like I'm being too much off the bat or something like that? Because communication is important in any type of relationship. So, if you do feel like you as a person are pushing people away from you, then I feel like you should open up about that and talk to them about it to see, you know, get a true answer for it. So yeah, just never be afraid to ask.
I like that.
What you got?
Honestly, I think like I've definitely done a lot of pushing away in my life due to like mental health struggles. And so like I never really had like people giving me advice. Like I think the one thing I wish I had when I was pushing people away was like if I were to talk to somebody else who was also doing that, I think I would tell them that they should also like be open and honest about it. 'Cause like some of my friends who I've had who I pushed away, I kind of felt guilty because I was I wasn't really giving them an explanation as to why I was kind of shutting down and pushing people away. And so I feel like if other people are doing that, they should also communicate how they're feeling. Because, like, also being on the other end of someone who's also doing that, I feel like it's not really fair, I guess. And, like, I don't know. But also, too, I also understand. Because, like, if you're really struggling mentally, like, it's hard.
Very.
It's, like, really hard to deal with. And, like, I also feel like if people don't deal with mental health, I feel like they wouldn't really understand. Whereas, like, if you do have other friends who also deal with something like that, I feel like they would also be more understanding.
Yeah, very much so.
So I feel like a big aspect for people who do deal with mental health is just communication. Like communication in anything is always key.
Yeah, and it's very important in life.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
Is there anybody that's been a strong support system for you? And if so, what have they done that's made you feel supported in your relationships?
Ooh. You take this first one.
Okay. I think for me, even though I'm not in school anymore, I think like one of my biggest support systems that I've had would definitely be like my old high school. And like even though I don't go there anymore, like I still know that like no matter what, people at that school will always be there for me. Because like kind of like my whole life, like my family never really understood what mental health was. And so like I didn't really have like a strong support system from them. And like some of the friends that I've had also come from the same school that I've been to, so it's also kind of like the same. But yeah, I think for me it would be like my school, like my old guidance counselor, like just the people there. It was definitely more of like a family dynamic than it was like a teacher kind of thing. So, how do you feel, Jinx?
Yeah, going to like your guidance counselor. I kind of get that too. Like they help me like shape me who I am, like
Mhm.
with different advice, since that's kind of their profession in general out of school is to help
Yeah.
students get through their struggles. So I do get that a lot, and they've helped me throughout the years. As for like outside of school and just in general, I would say maybe my sister,
Yeah.
because family in general is just something else, but and which can go either way. And I have a feeling when it comes to family, even though they are your family, they're not
Yeah.
like all there, I guess. They only like, you know, for example, like the main, I guess, stereotypical things that's still kind of being said nowadays. Like they obviously want you, oh, you got to go to college and university and stuff
Yeah.
like that, further your education. And it's like, no, I don't. I was stuck in school for like how long? So yeah, I get that a lot. But like, I'd say when it comes to my sister, she's more there on a more like personal, deep level, and she understands that because she's been through a lot of hardships in her life growing up.
Yeah.
And since I'm like the youngest in the family now, so she wants to like educate me and prepare me for my own future as
Yeah.
well. So she has been there to help shape me and for like comfort and advice as well.
Yeah.
As well as that.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
Like having older siblings is always nice. Even though I don't have any younger sibling or have any older siblings, like I definitely do relate to like the wanting to help your younger siblings. Kind of, I guess for me, I kind of want my younger siblings to be better than I was, I guess.
Yeah.
And like not have to go through the things that I did. And so I'm definitely trying to help them be able to grow up in a society where it's easier for them. So. Well, I appreciate you coming and talking to me today. I definitely took a lot from what you said, and hope you know that your feelings are always valid here.
Oh.
And
Well, thank you. I'll
yeah.
think about that later on.
And thank you to Emily for coming and talking to us too. Yeah. So, thank you for tuning into today's episode. Navigating relationships while managing your mental health is never easy, but you're never alone in the process, whether you're setting boundaries, learning to communicate your needs, or just trying to stay afloat. Give yourself grace. Healing isn't a linear, and connection doesn't have to come at the cost of your own peace. If this resonated with you, hope it reminded you that your well-being matters just as much as your love for others. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next episode of Let's